Santa boy. Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. There's just 167 days until Christmas 2024. And you know what? Just yesterday, I got some calls scheduling me for Santa Claus visits this coming season. Here we are in the very first week of July and already getting booked up for the season. It's exciting to be Santa. So regardless of anything else going on, and I'll just cut to the chase and be honest with you all. I'm struggling today with my mental attitude about things. I'm trying to come at things from a positive perspective. I get often accused of being too easily entertained and wearing my rose-colored glasses, and I'm doing my best to bring that to you today. But struggling against you on full red-eyed Sith on you guys. I'm struggling with some things, so we're gonna work through it. I'm gonna give you guys some things about what this last episode means. No, Nerd Mafia, the episode did not mess with my mental health. It's dealing with some of the discourse going on, as well as some things I know that are coming up. There's a couple of things coming up that may just set me off. and let me just go right to that, right? The thing that can set me off. And look, you guys, I don't know where you guys are. I don't know what you like and what you dislike. I just want, I know Star Wars politics. No Pip being mentioned. That's the first thing. The second thing we had in there is they used Star Wars slang, and I said no. That's two. And the third was let me see. Hold on. Let me look. I gotta look here. There was a third one that got me last night. Visiting more than one world. That's like, son of a gun, they got me again. Yeah, more than one planet. We just went into it to one. We spent the whole time on just one stinking planet. But look, people enjoy different kind of content. We've talked about this, right? I don't like The Bear, that show where people yell and scream at each other the entire show, and then you watch the next show and it's more yelling and screaming at each other, complete chaos and mayhem. Hate that show, right? Dislike it tremendously. But apparently people love it. It's not for Santa. There's other shows that I absolutely love, and people hate with a burning white hot passion. That's fine. You know, we could all have our own opinions. But one thing I don't care for, that I am scared to death about, is this Oshimir thing. And I know Leslie Headland has kind of said she's into it, and she's the writer of the show. I do not like the idea at all of Osha, who has this seeming moral compass That's another thing that, and I don't want to go too sideways on, but people with a strong moral compass, regardless what happens in their lives, find the way to do good. Bad things don't make people with a strong moral compass become bad. They're not guided by the events of their life on whether they're going to be a good person or a bad person. If they have a strong moral compass, then they tend to stay through whatever happens in their lives on the light side. Let's put it that way. And if if people who don't have a moral compass can be swayed about, and you see plenty of that too. I've seen it in my real life. I've seen it in work. People who have no moral compass. They do what is expedient for them right now. Astromech Jeremy. Yes. Oh my goodness. $5 super chat from Astromech Jeremy. Greetings, Santa. Just look at Luke. Yes, just look at Luke. This is what I want to bring up. And I'm glad you brought it up. Because look, Luke Skywalker, bad guy, killed his mom, or was the cause of his mom's death. Let's put it that way. I know it's a loose interpretation, but let's just go with it. Let's say Padme, she died of sadness. She lost the will to live. Why? Because her boyfriend, her husband, the love of her life, the light in her eyes, turned to Darth Vader and killed all those younglings. And Anakin broke her heart. And she died of a broken heart for what Anakin did. Plus, he choked the snot out of her, right? So there was that. But so she dies. And Luke Skywalker, his mom was killed. She dies. He is raised under false pretenses. He's raised by his aunt and uncle. He knows they're not his mom and dad. It's not like he was lied to from that perspective. But he's raised with the story that Darth Vader killed your dad. You know, Darth Vader killed your dad. His aunt and uncle told him that his whole life. You know who else told him that? His mentor, his Jedi master friend, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He said the same thing. Luke Skywalker was under the pretense that his dad was killed by Darth Vader. And his mom, likewise, died when he was just a kid. And when he finds out the truth, that Obi-Wan lied to him, that his aunt and uncle lied to him, his whole life, everything that he thought about himself and his parents was a lie. And he is invited by his dad, come join me. We'll rule as father and son. Come join me. We'll overtake the emperor and we'll set things right. Does Luke all of a sudden say, you know what? You make a point. People have been lying to me my whole life. And to heck with them. I hate those people. I hate all of them. We're just going to go ahead and kill them. That'd be fine and dandy with me. Is that what happened with Luke Skywalker? Luke Skywalker, just because his whole life was a lie and his dad was really the evil guy who says, hey, come with me, my son. Come be with me. Is that what he does? And so now we get Osha. Osha, we see her as a young girl. She doesn't want to follow the way of the coven. She wants to be her own person. She wants to be a Jedi. She's been dreaming of being Jedi. She's been drawing pictures of Jedi symbols and stuff in her little book. She's been dreaming of being a Jedi. She's given the opportunity. Hey, do you want to be a Jedi? You can come with us. She spends her life, the vast majority of it after that, being raised as a Padawan, going through living in the temple on Coruscant. And not only that, oh no, I see a chat. And not only that, her mom was killed. She knows that. Dad is a question mark, right? We don't know about dad, whatever. There is no dad. Who knows? Whatever. This virgins in the Force. I don't know. Let's just say whatever, right? Her mom is killed. She's raised under the pretense that her sister was the cause of all the death. She's raised as a Jedi. And she's got this moral compass that says, hey, we shouldn't be harming animals. We should be doing this, right? And now she's going to find out that what? Her Jedi mentor lied to her. Obi-Wan lied to Luke. His whole life he was lied to. Same thing. Osha, her whole life she's lied to. Now I'm supposed to believe she meets Chimera, a murderer, somebody who murdered all of her friends from the Jedi, right? She mentions Yord. Yord was a friend of hers before she left the Jedi Temple. I'm not a huge fan of Yord. He's whatever. I don't care. But she cared about Yord. She cared about Jackie. She cared about all the Jedi that this dude murdered. He murdered the people she knows. Now he says, oh, you've been lied to. Let me tell you the truth. And she's supposed to all of a sudden say, you know what? You make a good point. Let's just go kill him. She's supposed to become a Sith. She's supposed to follow Chimera just because she's been lied to and he tells her the truth. Come on. I hate that idea. I hate it. I hate it so much. And it's not the Star Wars I fell in love with. Somebody with a strong moral compass. I told you guys, I've mentioned it over and over again, how Rey is my favorite. Hey, see y'all later. Mike Porter's got to go. Oh, no. Sorry, Mike. I hope I didn't ring you off, but I'm sure you got to go. Mike's got doctor's appointments, stuff he has to go to, follow-ups and stuff from other procedures he's gone through. So thank you for being here, Mike. Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm going on a rant. Told you I was trying to be a little positive, but I got to get this out of my system. I got to get it out of my system. So I appreciate you guys hanging in here. I told you guys, I love Rey. One of the reasons I love Rey is this very, very strong moral compass that she has, right? Osha, and I see Thomas, I see your question. How does Osha have a strong moral compass? Well, we see when she is a child, her and May does things that are questionable. And Osha's like, no, I'm not okay with that. Osha says, I want to be a Jedi. Osha, you see, she has compassion when dealing with those little butterfly things. Is he Osha, even when we're the way she treats Pip, right, with some compassion, and even we get Soul saying, the way you treat that droid like it's a person, that's shows your heart, your character, who you are, right? We see that even when she's on that ship that's getting ready to crash, we got these prisoners in there. She ends up freeing them so they don't die on the ship when it crashes. And they double cross her and leave. Does she then say, I got to go get those guys that double crossed me and kill them? No. Yeah. Astromech Jeremy. Dude, we're on the same way. If you are kind to droids and they like you, you have a strong moral compass. There are others too that have a strong moral compass that don't like droids, but that's fine too. But we just see with Osha, her character, right? She seems to have this positivity to her. this compassion to her. Even the way that she like holds herself and talks to others. There's this bit of a smile on her face. There's a bit of a bubbliness to her personality in the early episodes. And then all of a sudden, now she's supposed to be like, fine, let's kill him. It makes me mad. It makes me mad. I don't like it. Okay. I'm a positive guy. I try to see things positively. This series as a whole, I've been very positive with. I've been ranking all of the episodes. Even this episode, I gave a 7.5 out of 10. I'm like, not so bad. I kind of liked it. It was all right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So there's that. If this series ends up with Osha fully embracing the dark side and becoming a Sith, killing Soul, and following Chimere to be his acolyte apprentice, ain't for me. It ain't for me. That's not for me. I can't. I just can't. That's not me. It's not what I enjoy. I know people love it, right? People love this enemies to lovers relationship kind of thing. People love it. Even to some degree, you get a little bit of that with Leia and Han, right? Where he's like a bit curt with her. She's a bit curt with him. And then they go from not enemies exactly, but not friends either, to lovers, right? They love that. It's not for me. I don't like that. I never liked the Han Leia thing. I was always a Luke Leia shipper, and I hated that George did what he did. But, let him live. It's a story. I like it. But if Osha goes full dark side and follows him, and this is another thing, I'm kind of okay with the concept of a bad guy becoming a good guy through this enemies to lovers thing. I'm kind of, the concept of it I'm with, but a murderer is a murderer. And a murderer, even if they can be redeemed, still needs to be held accountable for the murder. That's me. Hey, oh, there's Dawn. Hello, Dawn. Good friend of mine. She's got the day off. She's able to hang out with us. She's probably like, Brian, you need to calm down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to calm down. I told you guys I was trying to keep it at bay, but there you go. Hello, Dale, Skywalker's Academy. It's good to see you guys. Ultraman, Brett Phillips, good to see you. And I'm working my way down through the comments here. I see Fitz is with us. I saw that. Hold on a second. I just looked at Rob Sketchcraft posted a thing that I wanted to address. Rob makes really good points. Even if you don't want him to, he still does. Yeah, I like him. Gray recently rejoined some of our chats, and I've been chatting with her. I love Gray and her kids. What a great family she's got out there. What a great person she is. And it's good to see you, Gray. And there he goes. Mike says, I can't stay. I'm going to go see the Minions movie. Oh, so Mike Porter, he was leaving to go to the Minions movie. And Ben, he said, last night's episode, I feel like Qui-Gon being exhausted after fighting Maul in the desert. Don't get on social media. That's true. That's Matt, I hope Kelnaka was able to find his missing watch with that metal detector. I saw this comment too. Look, metal detector, it's funny, right? That's a metal detector. But this whole bricks and screws metal detector, Luke Skywalker's saber, somebody found what it was actually made from. And do I need to even mention the ice cream maker? Hey, grab something and run through the set there. We need people running in panic. Okay, I'm going to grab my ice cream maker and run right through there. And so now ice cream makers have been a thing in Star Wars forever. And we get a little context around it in The Mandalorian. So now we've got metal detectors too. Now you can bring your metal detector to the con. You could dress up as a Wookiee with a metal detector. It's fine. It's fine. It's Star Wars. It's something that's been in Star Wars. Sometimes the silliness is there. And you just have to be like, ha, ice cream maker. I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. Nerd Mafia. We'll see there. We'll get there. Can someone explain last night's episode? Because I'm seriously confused. I know Mike's already left. We're going to get there. There's some things that I'm confused about too. Renegade Nell. Yeah, Fitz and I were talking about that. I like Renegade Nell. I watched that series. I'm trying to get down to Sketchcraft's comment. People with a strong compass always find the way. My big example is look at Arrow. In that series, he had a lot of bad stuff happen. At the end of the day, he always finds his moral compass. There you go. I love people with a strong moral compass. Those are my favorite. May didn't tell Osha that Soul killed their mother. I'm just confused. Well, they separated really early, Brandon. So May saw Soul kill their mother, but then May falls away. Soul takes Osha, raises them separately. It's not like the two have been able to sit by and kumbaya, right? There's still a whole lot of tension there. And what I hope comes to play is at the end of all of this, we get Osha and May reunited, and that they are able to talk through these things and learn and grieve together and come back together as sisters. I want to see that. Let's see. I'm still working my way through. Sabersmith, almost missed you. Sick doggy today. Oh no. Let's see. There's Sketchcraft. Well, Owen told Luke his dad was a pilot on a spice freighter, which, according to this show, was probably an ice cream truck. That's hilarious. Just can't with Lucasfilm anymore. Oh, I love it. It's an ice cream truck. Yeah. Don't let Meg catch you with with an ice cream playing Legos, by the way. It's not good. She'll swat that right out of your hand. He did give her soup. That's true. Soup will warm your soul, right? As I refuse to put more effort into making sense of these stories than Lucasfilm does. Look, I had to do that with George Lucas. Say, look, George, I'm not going to try to make more sense of this than you are. If you're like, who cares? Then me too. Me too. If you're like, who cares? It's fine. They won't, if they're worried about that, they're missing the point. I'm like, really? Really, George? That's what you're going to say? Like, all right. Chosen pun, Mike Porter. Absolutely. All right. I think I'm almost there. Ben says, it feels like the ship crashing at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. I don't know how we're going to be able to land this. A little time left for so many questions. Yeah. We're coming in too fast, coming in too hot. Right. Let's see. Hey, folks, if you ever felt not good enough to write a story, give yourself a break. OSHA turns Chimere to the light side. I could deal with that better. I don't think that's going to happen. Nerd, I mean, being petty doesn't necessarily mean your compass is weak morally, right? For you, yes. Yes, it does, Nerd Mafia. Because you've made some questionable choices in your life. I know this. No. Being petty. Even after this show, I still feel like I have no reason to care for Mayor OSHA. I care about Soul even after his shoddy decisions. I'm starting to worry. I'm really, really worrying. What if OSHA starts the Knights of Ren? Ooh, I don't like it. I don't like it. Matt says OSHA does not kill Soul. All right, I want to get to this. I want to get to this because there's a couple things. Astromech Jeremy, I'm with you in enjoying this show, but I'm really with you about your assessment of OSHA and the treatment of our Star Wars heroes. God bless you, Astromech Jeremy. I've mentioned this before. He is an artist. He's a performer. He's in the performing arts. I went to college on a music scholarship, and I was a professional musician in the United States Army Band for over 5 years, performing theater, hung out with those guys. And this guy would have been one of my friends, even if we disagree on a whole bunch of other stuff, which I am 100% certain that we do. 100% certain that Jeremy and I would not see eye to eye on a lot of other things. But the guy is like a brother, right? He's like a brother. I appreciate it, Jeremy. I really, really do. You and there's several others that I think of that way, and I'm really, really happy that we've got to meet through this. So, fight by night, some fight day. Moon Sunday nights only on ABC. Sketchcraft is a little salty. I see what he's doing. Sexualizing Star Wars is not the way to go. Yeah, look, there's always been some. We can go all the way back to George Lucas, and you remember there was an interview with Carrie Fisher. It's very, very famous, a long time ago. And I think it was when George Lucas was being inducted into the Kennedy, or he was getting the Kennedy Performing Arts Award in Washington, D.C. I think that's what it was. I could be wrong. The Kennedy Center Honors. Almost certain that that's it. And Carrie Fisher comes on stage. And you got to remember, Carrie was in her late teens when she was filming as Princess Leia. You remember the statement about they don't wear bras in space. And, you watch A New Hope and Carrie Fisher, and you realize, I see what you're talking about. And then you get into Jabba's palace and the bikini Leia, right? The bikini Leia is still a little bit of a controversial sexualization of a figure there. And remember with the Rancor project, that Black Series Rancor, there was a certain figure they wouldn't make. Was our Ula, the dancer. Go back and watch that one. And pay attention to Ula, the dancer. There's some sexualization going on there. All right, so just saying that. Ben, at this point, I just want them to fan service this up for the finale. Throw in Gnome and Damask. Yes, Ben, let's do it. I'm for it. May and OSHA is one consciousness shared across two bodies. Probably why they always appear to be flip-flopping good, evil. Matt, I see where you're going. A vergence detector. That's right. You can go to cons now with your metal detector and say it's a vergence detector. Right there. I don't think May had a chance yet. She was more concerned about leaving. Yeah. We're catching up. Okay. Yeah, Sketchcraft's salty. He's salty. I see you, Rob. I'm just glad there's one episode left. That's all I have to say. Much love. Much love to you too, Yachty. Yachty's great. She's fun to get worked up too. There was times where we went to the Indiana Comic Convention together. Her and Dawn Basham and we were going around there. And all you have to do with Yachty is you can poke the bear just a little bit every now and then, and you can get her to go on a little rant. It was fun. It's fun. It's good fun. Anakin was willing to help people in trouble, and he turned to the dark side. Anakin did not have a strong moral compass whatsoever. None. Zippo. He had no compass. In fact, he said, if people can't agree on things, they should be made to agree. He killed that whole tribe, the women and the children too, because they're monsters. They're animals. And I killed them. And not just the men, but the women and the children too. That's not a guy with a moral compass. Not a guy with a moral compass. Nope. No. Love you too, Mike. We really do. Really do. Yeah. Thanks, Jeremy. Thank you so much. I'm sick that Lucasfilm keep making Jedi villains rather than heroes. Well, we'll get there. Ben, I think there's that's so exhausting for me. I remember just 5 years ago it was so much fun in social media to talk about the Mandalorian, boy, and not just the fighting, right? Not just the fighting. There's so much fighting going on now. It's just, yeah, very good, very good. Got to run. Happy beeps to you all. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. Oh, Rob, social media culture has gone way worse since the first couple seasons of Mandalorian. All right. There's See what happened? I said, Rob, you're just salty, and I quit reading his comments.
And so I'm like, I'm going to use my link. You're not shutting me out of the conversation.
If I'm grumpy and want to talk, I'll just come on there and I'll tell people what I think. Yeah.
To quote the Iron Giant, I'm going to file a memo. You know, I want that memo in triplicate.
Very good. Before you do, Rob, I want to touch base on something that kind of got me in this mood because I was chatting with Bespin. Well, it was really Jason's fault. You know, you've chatted with Jason. Jason's put you in a bad mood before too. It happens.
No. To be fair, I've angered him quite a bit.
True. I've watched it. I've seen it. But yeah, so Jason put me in a bad mood because he put me back onto this old story from some time ago. And Bespin posted this back on May 7th. So it's been a couple months ago. And could this be the plot of Star Wars: The Acolyte? And you got to go through Bespin's, word count. You get through the word count a little bit. I'm right. Poking the bear again.
I know. He SEOs a little bit. I know. we get him on that.
If I poke the bear enough, maybe he'll come on too. Right? It worked. It worked with you. Rob's like, I'll come on. No, I want to get to this part. He says, "Who is the Sith Lord?" You got to keep going. How will the Acolyte end? Here we go. We've seen episode 7. We're getting to episode 8. And this is what Bespin posted. And it says, I think by season's end, May will become a Sith. either by ushered in officially the masked Sith or by defeating and replacing the masked Sith. So that's Chimere. Why do I think this? Because in December, I exclusively reported that reshoots went on in November, December last year. And as part of those reshoots, I shared Amanda Stenberg, that's Osha and May, was spotted filming a scene with what looked to be Li Zhongjae, that would be Soul, or his body double. So Stenberg was sporting a different hairstyle, blah, blah, blah. She had black clothing with that almost looked like a cape over a sleeveless shirt. Oh, we've seen that. We've seen this, the shoulder reveal outfit she had there when she was talking to Chimere. And she's holding a red lightsaber. So this is now Osha, not May. But I can understand not having, this back in May, knowing May 7th, not knowing that Osha is May and May is Osha in this scenario. Says Stenberg's red blade clashed with the blue one of what looked to be Soul in a forest. The person Stenberg was fighting does not fit the description of anybody else, so it has to be Soul. So by the end of the season, I believe May, to replace May with Osha, now a Sith, will face off against her sister's former Jedi Master in a lightsaber duel, her own Jedi Master. She's going to face off against her lightsaber her Jedi Master in a lightsaber duel. Given that Stenberg is the series lead, you would assume May, Osha, will be victorious. It's put me in a bad mood, Rob. It's like, Jason, I don't like that. I'm not blaming, him for getting it right or for Bespin posting. I'm just put me in a bad mood, and I'm blaming him.
And they got it right before the series came out, really.
They did.
So I just want people to know, like, I think credit should be given. I mean, just Bespin and Jason, I don't know why they still this day don't get any of the credit. I mean, Jeff Snyder sort of gets some credit, it's 50-50 when he breaks stuff, but I think Bespin has been more accurate than anyone post Rise of Skywalker on any of this stuff,
Yeah.
And agreed. I mean, we were all hanging out when he was out in the fields being chased by these security guards shooting this stuff, and it is funny when he was like, I went out there, I got chased around and wrist, whatever, and they didn't even like. When they're not actually using the forest that he was in, he's just like confused, like what was the point of doing any of this stuff? And I try to tell him there's a long and sordid history of Lucasfilm making no sense. And I try to go back to the photo archives book that Rinsler put together. And, you get to Return of the Jedi, and even Ralph McQuarrie just decided when he saw the Ewoks, he's like, I'm not drawing that. Like he worked on his furniture. He worked on furniture. He just like, I'm retired. I don't want to do it. I'm out. I don't want to do it. And I try to tell people like, I was 5 when that came out. I was the target audience, and they annoyed me. And I don't mean like I can't watch them annoy. I'm like, all right, that's fine. But you're like, there's something missing. And I tried to tell people, it was the Tarzan yell. When Chewbacca does a Tarzan yell, I'm like, now this is making fun, right? Like it's not the same as when you get like the Wilhelm scream or something,
yeah,
right? Because that's like a real inside joke.
Yep.
Or if you get like a line from Shane or a Flash Gordon bit, you have to know it. Everyone knew that it's a goof. It was like Captain Caveman was doing the Tarzan yell, like it was a big joke. And so when you see that, you're like, I didn't have the word "are you effing with me" in 1983. You know what I mean? But you're just like, is this like, you're just looking around your shoulder. What is going on? And so that's when I was 5, and I told Jason, and I've been saying this for years, I had my first story like meeting with myself, right, on Return of the Jedi, because I was like, okay, Leia's she's in charge of the Republic. I mean, the rebellion. She's running the rebellion. That's why they went to save her. She's telling everyone what to do. Even on Hoth, you go here. And then you get to Return of the Jedi, and Mon Mothma's running things, and she's on the moon. She should be running the fleet, not Akbar. She should be on that capital ship. She should be in space, leading the fleet. Han Solo and Chewbacca should be on that moon, trying to shut down the generator, while Luke is in the Death Star trying to deal with Vader. That's the 3 triumvirates. And
Yes.
Lucas created a bunch of new characters because I came to find out he was getting a divorce and he took it out on the Leia character. Like, honestly, that's what happened, you know? And he was just like, she's the sister, doesn't really matter. That's her role now. And he just took it out on it creatively. And he never really owned up to that. But that's what happened, folks. And you can try to make all the sense out of it all you want. But as you just said, Santa, you're about 10, 12 years my elder. And one of my best friends who passed away a few years ago was exactly your age. So I've been able to talk to him about Star Wars since the Phantom Menace, right? Like we were in the army together, this guy. So this is where I met him. We literally met May of 1999. So I was able to get his perspective being the 10 when Star Wars came out, and then 14, 15, 16 when Jedi comes out, right?
Yep.
And he was like, yeah, I was a Luke and Leia guy. Everyone was like, Luke should get with Leia, Leia should get with Han Solo, Leia should get with Luke. That was like the Willy won't he stand, who's standing, that's the terminology they use now, whatever. But not their brother and sister. Like, there's no way that exists, you know? It's just, he just made it up because he didn't want to do any more movies, you know? That was the plan, you know. He had a sister on the other side of the galaxy.
Yes,
he'll go find him, and we'll do the sequels later. And that was the story. Yeah,
yes.
That's it. And we've been dealing with weird making sense of Star Wars ever since. And
You're
so
saying it's all, what I hear you saying, it's all Marsha's fault for divorcing him.
I've been saying martial law is a real problem in this country. I have Lucas often. The funny part is Lucasfilm having to transcribe those podcasts. I just wish I could be in the room for it. But I mean, like, and it's not to blame her. I'm not blaming the woman. You know, she did a lot of fantastic things creatively, but people's personal lives affect their work. You know, and to say anyone is above it, even if you're a Zack Snyder fan, his daughter's death affected his work. Everyone's personal lives affect their work. And so my problem with this version of Lucasfilm, when I blame Lucasfilm, it's not like I'm like, okay, I can point to like an auteur 20 years ago and say, well, Lucas was making all the calls at the end of the day. But this is like a collection of people. You can't blame anyone's bad day or bad year or bad 2 years on a situation because there's so many people involved. Like, that's like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, Pixar, when you have a good creative team, even when the leadership leaves and you get new regime, you get a few weird ones here and there, but overall you're batting a solid 8 or 9, you know, overall. You might get a good dinosaur that wasn't my cup of tea, but some people liked it, you know. You might get a Finding Dory, which I think is forgettable, but it's not an unwatchable, you know, animated film compared to like Shrek 4 or whatever, right? Like those kinds of movies. But this stuff, if this wasn't called Star Wars, nobody on God's green earth would be having a conversation about this series. This is not award-winning television. This isn't why you spend $30 or $20 a month subscribing to something that's going to go. Look, television, no, television is a realm right now. The play field that they're in is a playing field of even Doctor Who is operating at a higher. The Star Trek TV series right now, I'm not a fan of Strange New Worlds, right? Picard is operating with better visual effects, a better use of the volume, a crew and characters that you generally like, even if they do corny stuff. It's just I'm just comparing it to its peers, and people keep going, well, I just want to like hey man, like Star Wars, but at the end of the day, and I've said this to Lucas licensing in the past, I'm like, I dare you to make more of it. Go down, and this is what what the relationship that conversation was back in 2011, 2012. If you remember, you went into Walmart and Target, every Star Wars shirt was Vader in a school bus, or Vader with the stormtroopers on a roller coaster, you know, or Vader breakdancing. And I try to tell them, like, this is funny as a one-off or a two-off, but everything's a goof now. Now you're not having fun, you're making fun.
Well,
and if you go
a little exception, because I would rather watch this Star Wars than The Bear. I would put this on.
I'm not saying, but what I'm not saying is you should make Star Wars The Bear, like Dexter Jettster should be yelling at people and all. What I'm trying to say is they are operating in a realm of they could be making PG-13 Game of Thrones right? They could be doing that. I'm not saying make rated R Star Wars, but Star Strange New Worlds is a PG show, man. It's a PG show.
Yeah.
And it's taking itself seriously. People are really acting. They're writing real stories. I don't think there's enough of them. There's like 8 of them, right? It's got its own issues, but it's not a goof. You don't look at it and go, I don't know where they spent the money. No, I can see where they spent the money. The interior sets look great. People have logical human choices. There's an episode might be goofy, but it will have a moral center or a compass. This, you're straining to find something, and then people are like, well, maybe if I read the book and I get into their headspace and this means that and it double means you're it's like trying to find a schooner, right, in the 3D painting on the wall at the mall. Like, maybe you saw something, maybe you didn't. What was their intention? My guess, and this is based on everything we've seen so far from Lucasfilm outside of Andor, because I do believe Tony Gilroy, and I said this, go back 3 years ago on the podcast, because Tony Gilroy helped them make $1 billion, I think they just gave him his own corner. And he knows how to run a production because he's directed the Bourne movie. He wrote the Bourne movies, directed a Bourne movie. He understands, he's directed his own films. He knows how to run a production. His brothers edit, his brothers write. They have a crew. So they kind of stay out of it. This other stuff, I think they stayed out of the first season or so of The Mandalorian. But after Baby Yoda took off, I'm telling you, man, like, especially after Luke Skywalker shows up, you just see a radical change. And I'm telling you, it feels like the studio's coming in. All right, now, like, it can't be, don't go too far. Just give them, and they're going to be so happy. And they impress themselves. I don't know if you've ever been with like people on a set when they get really impressed with what they made.
Well, let me make this analogy. And as an artist, you've certainly dealt with this. As a musician, I won awards for jazz solos on trombone. I won awards. I've got a trophy right from competitions where I won an award. I love playing trombone in a jazz band. I played in a Dixieland band for a while. It was great. I loved it. But jazz musicians can get in their own heads and they can write some stuff that is just not entertaining. It's not fun to listen to. Are the chord progressions really complex, and do they have really creative riffs? Sure. Does anybody care? No. Right? I used to argue because people would say, oh, that's just awesome. Like, it sucks. It sucks. Nobody's going to be out on the street like, this tune's in my head, because there's no tune in your daggone song, right? So jazz musicians can be that way. You get artists together creating.
But I've been trained. I try to tell people, though, Santa, I'm not coming at this from like an artist nitpicking at like a higher professional level. And I know the difference, because in the t-shirt game, I did it for so long, man. You have to walk into a store and perceive everything the way a normal customer does. You can't go in there and be amazed by what you did. I got something on the shelf and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's that bit from the making of the Phantom Menace when Lucas and Spielberg are like, it's going to be great. Oh, it's going to be great. Oh, it's going to be great. And you're like, you just keep saying it, man, but that's not going to solve your problems. That's not, what I'm trying to say is, and this is why I don't mind coming on and talking to you about this, because we do have and have had for the longest time a real psychotic, toxic cult of Star Wars jerkweeds on the internet. And there's nothing new about this. You were there in the Ain't It Cool News days. Real vile guys. And I'm like, if you want to, let's critique the work and figure out, why doesn't this resonate? In 1999, when I was really full on Star Wars, why didn't this resonate with everyone on post? Right? Why didn't this resonate with my 36-year-old or 40-year-old E5 sergeant who let us all off early to see Star Wars and then just didn't want to talk about it forever? Right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what about them? That wasn't a guy who was like, oh man, Lucas is bringing in midi. It just didn't hit with them. When I went to the comic book shop, Terminal 3 in Frankfurt, and the comic book shop owner who had a Star Wars shrine didn't want to talk about the Phantom Menace because the best he would say is to Hong Kong cinema for him, right? Didn't want to have a conversation about it. I'm like, well, why don't I don't understand? Because this is what is not clicking with the mass public. And
Mm-hmm.
if you take away the visual effects, right, from the prequels, and you take away the spontaneity and you add on like 2.5 more hours to a movie, and then you cut it every 20 minutes with the intermission, you're getting a Disney Plus show. That's what we're seeing.
I want to bring up a couple points, and it goes right off of what you just now said. So put a pin in that for 1 second. We'll come right back to it. And because Ben posted this, and he said, if you give any sort of criticism, you're considered a racist, sexist, whatever. The extreme pom-pom waving people just umbrella anyone who critiques. Opinions not allowed. And Ben, the exact same thing happens for people who are thoroughly enjoying the show. And I've been watching Alan at Generation Tech, for example, and he does breakdowns of the cinema, and he gets really into the story, and he's overall really, really enjoying this. But you know what happens to Alan? He gets attacked. He gets unsubbed. He gets people calling him a shill, and every name you can think of.
It's stressful. That's why I'm laughing. It's stressful because I've been called it too by our people in your own audience who then gone on to Jason. I'm not saying Ben, but people in the past have been like, "You're an idiot, Rob. You're a hater. You're a blah 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 blah." And I'm like, guys, I've been through all of this. There's nothing you can say. It's
right. So what happens is you internalize things from your perspective, right? So if you are somebody who's been critiquing things, then you're going to be getting attacked by people who are the, say, pom-pom wavers, or as Meg likes to call them, the Disney defenders, right? They're not Disney defenders. They're people who actually, and maybe some are, but a lot of them, they just like the show. The problem we have is the interaction. So get off of that for just a second. You were talking about breaking the show up into 20-minute segments or whatever. I think, and it's been I made this supposition yesterday. I think they could have done this series in 4 weeks with 2 episodes a week. So we did that first week where there was episodes 1 and 2 when it released. I think the second week they should have done 3 and 7. Your 2 flashback episodes back to back. Perspective A, perspective B, back to back. There was nothing in last night's episode, and this gives us a transition to talk about episode 7. There was nothing in last night's episode that gave away anything or reduced any part of the story in episodes 4, 5, and 6. I would have put 3 and 5 together and released them the same night. This perspective, that perspective. 4 and 5. The 2 episodes that took place on what's that planet where Chimera came and
with the trees, the forest,
killed everybody.
And stuff.
Yeah. So that would have set up for 4 and 5 to go together without that weird break in between. Then you could have put 6 and 8 together, right? 6 where they switch places, and 8 where the thing comes to its conclusion. I think that would have played better over 4 weeks in double episodes. Would that have been better for you, or do you think they should have just
No. I think here's what I think, and I've heard many reasons why they don't do this. I just think they should have one Star Wars show on Disney Plus. You want to call it the High Republic, you want to call it the Dark Times, whatever it is, and you should have 13 episodes, an hour long, a season, and it should come out every 12 to 18 months, like any other TV show. And stop trying to give me some weird, well, Rob, for tax reasons, they can't call it season 2 because they'll have to pay people more money. And I don't believe in this TV movie a week thing. Pretending to be a TV show, and I haven't, by the way, since V. If you remember when V came out,
Oh yeah,
V was like this. It's a movie, but it's a TV series, and it
yeah,
got everyone bought into it. Took the world by storm. By the time you get
yeah.
to the end of it, you were done. I don't want to see this
Oh
ever
yeah.
again. And they kept trying to do it, and it never works. I'm like, no. Quantum Leap. If they had done Quantum Leap that way, no one would remember it. But Quantum
Right.
Leap was an hour-long TV show that was cinematic. It shot on film. You know what I mean? It was like, it looked like, but it still had a procedural hook. These need to have little procedural hooks. They need to give you the chance to get to know the characters for a full season and really get their ins and outs and plant your feet in the ground. That the reason why I'm subscribing to Disney Plus because I know I'm going to get the High Republic, or I'm going to get the Dark Times, or I'm going to get the New Jedi Order with Rey. One of those things, and put everything into that. If Game of Thrones season 1 had come out, and then Game of Thrones wasn't called Game of Thrones, it was called Stark. And then it was like 8 episodes. Some were 20 minutes and some were 40 minutes. And then the next one was called Daenerys. And some was 20 minutes and some was 40. No one would be talking about that series. They would have been fed up and thrown their hands up in there and walked out. They're trying to invent something that can't exist and it doesn't work. It's pulling from both sides. I tell the simplest way I described it on the last show we did before Jason just called it quits on talking about this series was, do you want to be American Graffiti or do you want to be Happy Days? Because you can't be somewhere in between. You're either the TV show or the movie, man. Pick it.
Right.
And that's the problem. And you can fan edit this all you want. It's not going to fix the problem because the script is written it's like trying to fan edit you can't fix the problem because you don't have.
What about MASH? No,
That's a well, MASH the movie is better than the TV show. I'll stand by that any day of the week. MASH the movie. Yeah, I think the MASH the TV show is the most overrated piece of garbage ever put on television. Like Hill Street Blues is a way better show than MASH. Like, this is ridiculous.
See, this is what happens when you poke the bear on purpose. You just get a little mini rant. It's fun. That's why we do it.
But you can say 2 episodes, 9 episodes. Second episode in, I go, there's no reason to tell this story out of order. I own every Kurosawa film on DVD. I have the box set. I've been watching Kurosawa films since 1995 when I found out who Akira Kurosawa was. When you invoke Rashomon, it was like his 3rd or 4th film. He did it before the Seven Samurai. Rashomon is literally a ghost story. It's about a samurai who was murdered, and then they bring his ghost back, and he tells the story, and you find out even the ghost is lying. Everyone interviewed is being lying. And I was like, well, if you're going to invoke Rashomon, Star Wars is interesting because ghosts can speak. Ghosts can tell the truth, but what happens when the ghosts lie? Right? And why would the ghost lie? There's interesting ideas there, almost goosebump inducing ideas. But these people are not operating on that level. The studio is not operating on that level. This wants to give you Burger King's Kids Club Star Wars. And you know what, man? Just stop trying to pretend it's Game of Thrones via Burger King. They try to pretend, no, it is serious. It does. It's not. It's not a serious show. It's a goof. Mama, Osha, Mama, Osha, Mama, Osha, Mama, Osha. Just take a drink every time they do that and see how long you last. Like, that's the problem.
I told you Rob was salty. I told you guys. He's salty.
It doesn't need to be this way. I watch plenty of goofy. I watch anime. I watch Haikyuu. I watch everything Studio Trigger Maze. I watch Delicious in Dungeon. I understand. Okay, I watch Demon Slayer. I went to the theater to go watch Konosuba. I understand what goofy, fun genre stuff can be in a modern age. These are old people who don't get it, man. Old people are making and Indiana Jones and the Willow Show are a really good they're out of touch, deeply out of touch.
Yeah, well,
Lucas was out of touch by the time he made the Phantom Menace. That was not the Lucas who made
show, and I like the story.
Correct.
There are parts that I really don't like, and let me. So just to get into episode 7 a little bit, and then I'll go through the predictions at the end. But I posted these questions on my Discord, and I just want to bring them up as episode 7, kind of a recap a little bit. It answered some questions for me. All right, we got to see some things from the other perspective. And did it tell me anything I didn't already know? Not really. I mean, to some degree, a little bit, sure, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But I have these questions. Uh, exactly how were the girls created? They mentioned this vengeance or virgins in the force, right? The virgins in the force. And this planet, and this is where you touched base on it a little bit ago, but it was kind of a flyby comment. They mention the hyperspace disaster from the High Republic books, and it's gone just like that. If you don't know what that is, too bad for you, right? Because they didn't give you any kind
An
of
opening crawl could have started off with the hyperspace disaster.
100 years ago, there was a hyperspace incident, and bits of debris hyperspaced out all across the galaxy. And where that came out, it came out at like light speed and impacted different planets and moons and caused mass devastation, right? This is one of the planets that were impacted by some hyperspeed debris that wiped out the planet, wiped it out. 100 years later, it's got mature trees, moss growing. It's got animals. It's got like there are things living on the planet. It's got all this stuff going on. So how does that happen? That is a mystery. How did this happen? And the virgins in the force created all of this life seemingly overnight. Okay, cool. Now I know that, which they didn't really make I think, clear enough in the show last night, but they touched base on it, whatever.
It's introducing a new idea in your third act, and it's a genuinely dangerous thing to do in cinematic storytelling. And that's one. Two, you're trying to make sense of a line in the Phantom Menace. You have virgins, you say, what is a virgin? You're trying, and I always say, ignore the prequels. Move on. Let them be. It's just like trying to make sense of X-Men 3. You're best to just not do it. All right? Like, it's just great actors are in it. You know what I mean? Some characters we know and love. Just move on. You know, like they took a whiff on it. And so, because when you try to do it, like I've said before, the biggest problem is the whole Jedi can't have relationships and love, and like samurai had wives. That wasn't a thing in the original trilogy. At no point did Ben say, "Now make sure you never bone Leia, because if you do, you might go to the dark side and have attachments." Never happened. Like it just doesn't exist. So, the best thing to do is to do a story that's whenever you start with Jedi, they're normal. Something happens and they enacted a rule because of it, and it was the wrong rule because it resulted in Anakin. You know what I mean? Like, that's the best I could say. If you're going to do a prequel, deal with that. But you can't even deal with that in like 2 episodes because you won't care. You need like season 2 of a 13 episode season to deal with it, or a 10 episode season.
Fine with the concept of this, saying this planet was wiped out 100 years ago. They could have said that. This
in a crawl, right?
100 years ago.
Yeah.
All life was destroyed on it. And just 100 years, we've got mature forests, we've got animal life. Where does this come from?
It's the Genesis effect.
It is. So what we want to know is, why is it here? That's why we're here to investigate.
So tell the story linearly. Yes.
Right. Well, there's that too. But I'm just saying, like, that explains why they're there and why they're investigating. Are the girls, were they also created using the same mechanism of the virgins of the force that created all of these trees and the animals and everything around here? Did you tap into that? How did you tap into that? Where are the girls of virgins in the force themselves? Do the girls just come from the virgins? Is this virgins like just spewing out animals from time to time? Like, you know, you pour in a little concoction,
and volcano of bunnies right around the corner, just popping
it's sort of
out.
like a gremlin. You know, this ball pops out, pop, and then, you know, it unfoils and there's a gremlin. I don't like, where do these come from? A mogwai, right? Like, I don't know where do they come from?
Something that should take 1 billion years happened in less than 100. How did that happen? Genuinely interesting mystery on some level, but not something you hang a whole series on. It's a premise to catalyst to get something going. Here's what I guess. And I have not seen the last episode. I could be wrong. If I had to guess creatively, they just used witchcraft. And somewhere at Lucasfilm, they were like, let's not do that, and reshot it. And you're seeing two different edits, and there's a schism here, and it's
Well,
never going to make sense, and it's going to take more books and comics, and over time some dumb YouTube channel is going to tell me how stupid I am because see, they fixed it over like 20 years and now it all makes sense, and I'm going to go, good luck. Good luck. Harry Potter. Look, I'm not a fan of J.K. Rowling and her stance, right, on these days on people's life choices, but those books didn't need 700 comics to explain what happened to them. Okay,
No.
like they're the books. Lord of the Rings doesn't need books and vinyl and video games to make sense of all this other stuff. They're the books. Put it in the book and let it make sense. It's literally their job, Santa. It's what they get paid to do.
Right. So this is a question I have coming out of the show. I don't know. I don't know the answer to. They presented it. They're a virgin. There's this virgins in the Force. Did they come out of the virgins? Are they a virgins themselves? What's the deal with the virgins? I don't know. Next question. What caused all the explosions in that coven? Like, you see where May starts that fire at the doorway and it gets out of control and it gets into the wiring of the room there where the box is.
Yeah, it just happened.
Next thing we know, there's explosions going on all around. Like there's, explosive charges set and they're just blowing up. Where did those explosions come from? Am I supposed to believe that it came from the wiring that's burning throughout the facility and it's running into junction boxes and those are exploding and that's what made the whole main core blow up? Is that all based on that fire at the doorway? Is that what did that? I don't like.
It's for kids, Santa. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Next.
It's for kids.
Next question.
Who cares?
Next question. Mother Coral. She smokes away, right? She just poof, she goes away. And then Kelnaka gets possessed. Kelnaka starts fighting everybody. Along comes what's her name? And unpossesses him, which then knocks out all the witches in the place because they were using all of their energy to possess Kelnaka. Where's Coral? Where does she go? I suspect I know the answer. This one can wait, right? Because I think they're going to reveal that next week. Coral's still around. And I think that ties into the rest of the story. But she smoked away. Now we don't know what's going on with her. I don't know. Next. Are those witches that passed out when the Force bond broke? Are they dead or are they just sleepy?
Look,
what happened?
I suspect there was another version of this where the Jedi just came to take the kids and they said no. And the Jedi said, well, we have the right to. And they just refused to and they reshot it. I think if I had to guess, this wasn't a $180 million budget initially. I think this was probably like $100 million budget and they reshot a bunch of stuff. We know they reshot a bunch of stuff. It took almost an extra year for this to come out, longer than it should have. And people were like, well, it's because they're trying to space out Star Wars content now. Nah, I don't think that's it at all. I think they, just like Han Solo and just like Rise, I think they just can't make a decision. And even Rogue One, they couldn't make it. And they reshot it, reshooting entire portions of films and projects and is literally what they've done. And they just didn't really tell anyone. I don't think any of it's going to make sense. And I look, everything I said on episode 2 has come to pass. I'm like, yeah, the potion dude, man, he's the dude in the helmet.
Yeah.
Like, it's just obvious. Like, and maybe there's one who taught him. And maybe, when we finally saw the moms, it's the one that looks like Darth Maul because they're invoking the prequels, right? Like, ooh, big. Who didn't picture that one coming? And if it doesn't happen, she just disappeared. It's because maybe she did and they waffled on it. I mean, that's why, like, what's crazy is we all got to wait 8 weeks to figure out the most simplest of stories, right, Santa? I do agree with you on that. Like
I think she's alive. I think she's alive. We're going to see her next week. She's going to be involved. And there's another reason I think this, but I have another question still. I'm not done. And by the way, Matt Risman said he went back and caught the series with the descriptive audio turned on and confirms the witches, when they broke the Force bond to the possession with Kelnaka, it killed them, all of them. So breaking the bond killed them. They're dead. Because the question was, are they sleeping? And did they Did the Jedi just leave them there, witches, to die in the fire? Huh? There's something like, is that what they did? Turns out they were dead. But that's not in the show, right? That's not in the show. All you see is that they break the bond and they go, God. Okay, you asleep? Wake, wait. What's going on? I don't know. The show doesn't tell me that. I don't know. So that's one of the things. Those are some of the things that I had from the show that I still don't have answers to. I don't think we're going to get answers to, and that's just from this episode. There are other questions about how old was Chimere and who's blah blah blah. Next week, I think we're going to get some more answers about like Mother Coral. And there's this line that's been going through the show for a long time about you need to kill a Jedi without a weapon. Something like that. Yeah. And in this last episode, you see Coral fighting with Soul, and he won't pull his weapon. And it makes her madder than a hornet that he won't pull his lightsaber and fight her. She gets really upset about that. I think that becomes one of her mantras in why there's Chimera keeps saying you need to kill a Jedi without a weapon. It goes back to this fight that they had. But I don't know. That's head space, me trying to figure out stuff that they haven't.
They have speeder bike effects that are worse than the Return of the Jedi. You get
they're not.
Me on that one.
You shush.
It's horrible. This makes Rebel Assault look cinematic. I am a visual effects. I love the making of Star Wars. Is why I do the show with Jason, and even bad Star Wars. I'm flabbergasted. How do you can't allow those shots to happen? That is not something you hang your hat on. That is horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Ben gave us a $5 super chat before. It says, Rob, reenacting the mama scene from the Acolyte is more entertaining than the actual thing. Here's his acting paycheck. So there you go.
Look, there's a thing in screenwriting where you don't want to like reuse the same words because you have a short amount of time to do things. And they just keep, all they keep saying is mom. I'm like, are they improvising this? Do they have nothing left? Are they dragging? Are they trying to create drama on set? I mean, it goes on and on. I've been saying since the beginning, the editing on this show is just the weirdest editing I have ever seen, Star Wars or not, and it from a major studio. Look, George Lucas even used to say, I'm not a filmmaker or a director, I'm an editor. I see myself as an editor. This is the worst editing. And look, there's some bad jump cuts in like the Phantom Menace, like when you just cut to Qui-Gon running in the desert for no reason, and Maul's behind him. It was the weirdest thing to me. I was like, something's missing here. What's happening? You know, like the shows just end randomly. The title cards come on and then they leave before you even knew what happened. You're like, what was that? What was going on?
Well, that's why I meant to do the two episodes together. I think it'd been better. Jason Pimberfoot. Jason wants to know, it's for kids, thus the inclusion of nudity. Welcome to modern Disney Star Wars. Look at Jason.
Ula's boob is in Jabba's palace. Boob pops right out.
It pops out.
We used to freeze frame that tape.
Before. Ula's boob pops out.
And Cy Snoodles is naked. That's a woman. She's got lips. She got no top, dude.
That's true too. Don't bring this up. I mean, this is George Lucas's Star Wars, my friend. This is George Lucas's Star Wars.
And we know Baru wasn't wearing a bra, right? It's too hot in the desert.
Like, well, there's no bras in space.
Right, there's no bras in space. So, you know.
That comes from George Lucas, and when Carrie Fisher was kind of complaining.
You know where that milk comes from? You want to go there?
No.
Don't see any Eopies in the New Hope from 77. Just saying, like.
Rob's on target. Darth Vader is trailing behind him while Obi-Wan's voice is in his helmet. There's his head. I mean, sorry about that. I don't
know, guys. I don't feel like I win any points. Like I went through all this 20 years ago. I got so excited when JJ and Kazan and those came, and I heard Michael Arndt was doing a script. I was like, finally, we're just going to bring the best of the best talent out there, because JJ was on a roll at the time, you know, and we're just going to give them the reins to make the best. And Star Wars will not be sitting on its laurels from 1977 through 1983. You will be able to actually say, the best people are working on it. And the best people aren't working on it. I mean, I'm saying from CEO on down. I start top down leadership, folks. You know, like they're just not working. They're not in charge of it. They're whatever it is, it's wrong. And I have zero like, and I've been saying they should just make a Mando movie, but I felt they should have made a Mando movie after the second season or even before the second season. Now, I don't think anything like this is gonna be. I just suspect that it's gonna be a Disney Plus budget cut down to 2 hours. And I hope you go see. I don't know, man. I'm.
Bespin makes a really good point. Chewbacca was naked the whole time. You know,
doesn't count with fur though. Slice Noodles has got no just smooth.
No,
Smoothie.
you can see.
Plus, the whole band is
Noodles.
naked because Max Rebo ain't wearing nothing either. Look, I mean, even Jawas wear robes, man. You know, so Rebo,
Don't
and his snoot's going up, you know. So think about it, you know. As we've learned from Star Trek: Undiscovered Country, not all creatures have their genitals in the same place, you know. Just saying,
hey, Rob, you're welcome to stay here and discuss further. I'm going to go through the predictions. If you want to hang out and bring up,
I got to roll, Santa. I got to roll.
Okay,
I got to roll.
Rob,
God
as
bless you.
always, tons of fun to chat with you. We agree on a lot. We disagree on a good bit, but it's fun talking Star Wars with you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Later.
Have a good one. Bye. All right, you guys, we're going to get into the predictions now. I want to go through here with all of you all. We'll see how all of you did on your predictions. And let's see. Let's make this bigger so you all can read along with me. Question 1. A Jedi will die in this episode. No, we did not have a Jedi die. We knew that was not going to be the case. We knew this was going to be a flashback episode. What we didn't know is if this was going to be contained solely to flashback or if there was going to be some current events going on as well. But so there you go. No Jedi. Visit more than one planet. I said yes. The answer is no. Let's see. How many of you said no? Because I see a lot of yeses here. Three of you said yes, we were going to go to more than one planet, or no, we were only going to be on one planet. So there's that. Oh yeah. Oh, Sabersmith says at this point I'm looking forward to Skeleton Crew. Let me just maybe try to walk you guys back a little bit. I'm going to say lower expectations. And once you've lowered them, go lower them 1 or 2 more times. Right? Just bring it down. Once you're comfortable with bringing it down, bring it down again. Right? Once you get it down, your Skeleton Crew expectations really low, that you can like just step over it without tripping, then you're good. If the bar for Skeleton Crew is any higher than that, take measure and lower it. All right. So there, you've been warned. A droid will be referred to by name. I said yes. The answer is no. Oh, they got me last night. I was like, you son of a guns. And I told you guys this yesterday when I was doing my predictions. I said yes, and it was no. I said no, and it's yes. That's exactly what happened. Right? We see more than one lightsaber color. We knew that was going to happen. We knew the flashback scene was going to show Kelnaka fighting them. So yes, we did get that. We meet a new Jedi we've never seen before. No, we did not. Again, 100% flashback episode. It's what I expected. We didn't get any new ones. Someone has killed a non-Jedi. Now, in this case, we actually saw a death on screen that we didn't see before, right? So, the mom was stabbed through. Soul stabbed her through with the lightsaber. I thought that was a rough moment. Soul acted completely on instinct. And why? She was presenting no danger to you whatsoever. She was presenting peacefulness. She was trying to de-escalate. She was the other mom. She was having no problem at all escalating. We're going to fight. But he stabbed her through, and she was de-escalating the whole time. She went to smoke away. She went to take herself and May out of the picture, right? They were going to whiffed away to wherever they could to come back, right? So that didn't, he decided, nope, you're not getting away. He stabs her. Yikes. So my dude, what was up with that? So someone's killed a non-Jedi. Yes, that did happen. And that was jarring to me. Didn't care for it, but there you have it. Someone used a Star Wars slang. Well, son of a gun, they did. They did. They said slice it right into the wall. Kelnaka had to slice and that's Star Wars slang for sure. Someone will use the Force observably. Yes, Kelnaka did that. So there's that. And then next one, there's a reference to a named Sith. No, maybe next week. So that's going to be no. Next week, I'm going to say yes, purely from I hope so. That's it. A species speaks another language with subtitles. No, we didn't get that either. So there you go. Those are the regular questions. Where is Santa on this whole ordeal? Oh, I got to hold on a second. Let's do this. I got to freeze there. Santa is down here on line 15. Let's go across and see. Santa's got 7 plus 1 speeder chase through the woods. 8. 8 is the score to meet or beat. And so we'll give you guys, let's see here. You got to get 8 or better. So we'll start up here with aggressively relaxing. He's got 7. He needs the point. He needs a point. We've been watching a Murder on the Orient Express. The whole team of Jedi are type of dark side user working for Venestra, except Soul. That's why they all have to die. We also find out that buildings the witches were living in does relate to cortosis mining. No, but thanks for the fun game. Thank you, aggressively relaxing. That was a fun answer to read. Osha will join the stranger the first night of Ren. Gray, that's a great guess. I was hoping we would get more content other than just the flashback, but we did not. Heidi didn't go for the bonus question. Missed it by 1 point. Missed it aggressively. Says, I don't predict, just make wishes in this game. That's me next week. I'll be making a wish, a big one. Let's see. Daniel Fisher says Vernestra in action. No. Kanaka versus Torben. Yes, Brett. We knew that was in the flashback. 9 out of 10. Good job. Well, 9 out of 11. But anyway, good job. 9 points. Soul is responsible for the death of the witch coven. Star Wars democracy. Soul, this could be taken 2 ways. Soul did kill the mother. But Soul wasn't the primary reason they were there. And the thing that killed the witch coven is what, and I can't remember her name right now. The lady, when she broke the trance that Kelnaka had, that's what killed them. So Soul did not get credit for that. He was instrumental in it. He was part of it. So Star Wars democracy, I'll give you 1 point just to get you onto the Wall of Fame. Indara, that's it. Thanks, Dale. Skywalker's Academy. Indara. Yeah, Indara is sort of responsible because she broke the bond and that killed them. But is that even responsible? I don't know. There were some decisions in this show that didn't land great for me, but there you have it. Brian Kelly, the cloaked figure in the background from the witches is shown to have a hand in destruction. No, absolutely not. So that was a good theory going on for some time, but that's not it. Seek Helenaka gives Torben his scars. Yes, CCG, we did see that. We learned what really happened on Brendok. Yes, that's most of what really happened anyway. Kelnaka will pull his lightsaber. Fitz says, that sounded better in my head. Yes. Yes, you get the point. Baymax, Kelnaka will slash Torben in the face. There you go. 10 out of 8. 10. You gained 2 points on Santa this week, Baymax. Soul is there looking for the one. Sam the Sham. Nope, that didn't happen. Ihogda, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi. No bonus question. Mike Yaney. The witches attacked the Jedi during flashback scenes. Did the witches? Yes, they did. They did attack the Jedi. I got to think about this. Mike Yaney says the witches attacked. We did not see that in the flashback. We didn't see it before. There were no leaks showing the witches firing those bows and arrows. I'm going to give you 5. How about that? Oh, Mike, I'll give you 5. Mumbo Jimbo, Kelnaka uses his lightsaber. Yes. Brindock flashbacks. Yes. So there you go. Matt Risman made it to the Wall of Fame again. The Wookiee returns. Nerd 5-point Mafia. 1 point for you. Oh, you still pick up a point on Santa. Good job. Soul comes clean about the night he took OSHA. Yikes. Brian, we don't know the perspective why this flashback. Is this Soul telling May what happened? I'm going to give you the point just because we can't say yes or no. Soul gives May his perspective. Same answer there, KG. And then Kay put a second one just in case she was wrong on the first one. Kelnaka was already a convert believer when the incident happened. No. And then Star Wars politics. I must make up any elaborate predictions this week. He says, I don't feel like going with my usual bonus question, so I'm keeping it simple and safe. I'm going to say we'll have a flashback. There you go. 1 point. Wall of Fame. Star Wars politics made it on there. You see he's in first place up there. First place on the leaderboard. Star Wars politics right there. 8 points. He stays on the leaderboard ahead of Santa. And then Soul tells OSHA a lie. Soul tells OSHA a lie. Yes, in the flashback at the end, he does tell her a lie. So, and actually, Dale, I'm going to have to give you 5 on that. I have to give Dale 5 on that. Even though you're already on the leaderboard, you gain some points on Santa. I think it's going to be impossible for me to catch you with that 5-pointer there. So there you go. Everybody that made it onto the Wall of Fame. We had quite a few again. Dale, Skywalker's Academy, Star Wars Politics, KG, Nerd Mafia, Matt Risman, Mumbo Jimbo, Mike Yaney, Sam the Sham made it on there, Baymax, and Brian Kelly, Star Wars Democracy, Brett Phillips, all made it to the Wall of Fame this week. Good job, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me. I told you I was in a bit of a mood when the show started. But you know what? Talking Star Wars and hanging out with my friends is a good way. I was able to release some of the pent-up frustration that I have on this show. I was able to release that. I thank you all for being here for that. We have the Mike Porter dad joke. And this is a pretty good one, Mike Porter. It says, what do you call the witches of Dathomir's boyfriends? Well, they're called the Night Misters. Mister. No, like boyfriend. Very good, Mike Porter. Thank you for that. Thank you, everybody. Matt Cave Gaming. He's a tad bit late, but good to see you. I like this guy, too. This guy's a great guy. Been hanging out in this community for a while. Was a good stream today. Thank you so much for listening to my rants. And you know what? People often accuse me of being small-minded. People accuse me of being too easily entertained. People accuse me of walking around with my rose-colored glasses, seeing nothing but but unicorns and rainbows, with my heads in the clouds, and in just living a happy space. I actually won an award from Darth Melvin of being a shill of the week. Oh boy. I don't think I'm going to win any shill awards today. I still enjoyed the episode. I'm still enjoying the series. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. And I'm looking forward to the finale. I'm very optimistic on where it's headed. And I can't wait to talk to you all next time. Now, just so you know, no stream on Friday. There was some news that came out today, and I bypassed that. We'll get to it eventually. But no stream on Friday. Monday, we'll do our members only and Patreon live, Zoom meeting. That'll be on Monday. I'll be sending out the information for that. And then next week, we'll hope to do Tuesday, our preview show. Wednesday, like today, we'll do our review and breakdown. Thursday, since the series is concluded, I would like to do another community stream. Hear what you all thought of the series as a whole. Now that it's all wrapped up, now that we see the whole thing, what do you think? And then we'll get to the news of the week. So maybe we'll get 4 live streams next week. So you guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, a great week, fantastic weekend. Of course, we'll be in all the places. You know how to reach us. Hanging out on Discord all the time. I check Twitter from time to time. And like Ben does, you can DM me on Twitter and I'll respond. And then we'll be in touch. I just won't be able to do any live streams until next Tuesday. All right. So until then, my friends, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And ho, 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 Merry Christmas. And may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.